From the Western Isles, we travel northeast to the Shetland Islands, where there are warnings that almost every household will soon be in what's classed as fuel poverty. Islanders are turning to community-based short-term solutions, whilst calling for a major intervention from the UK government to fix long-standing issues. Ollie Dickinson reports.
Rocketing electric and oil prices on Shetland are forcing locals to take drastic action to stay warm in their homes. Mandy Johnson has fibromyalgia. She needs to stay warm to have any quality of life.
With the cold comes a lot of pain. So if the house is not heated, I spend my time in more pain than what I'm normally. I mean, it's not just like a little bit of cold. It can be gales and hail and storm. The bedroom is really quite cold. So I put my bed in the sitting room / kitchen. And yeah, that's how I work around it.
Are you concerned that people in your situation might not have a plan and what might happen to them across the island?
I'm quite concerned that a lot of these people are not maybe going to survive it. And that's not being dramatic, that's being honest.
Almost everyone you speak to on the islands say rising energy costs are their number one concern.
Just listening to the radio last week, they were speaking to people on the mainland that were concerned about the rise in energy prices, and I mean that the type of prices that they were speaking about are prices that we've been paying here for years. So the hike in prices here is already on top of exceptionally high energy prices.
In the south of the island, they are trying something different. This hall will be a heated space with free tea, coffee, papers and Wi-Fi, where people can come and get warm without turning on their own heating. It's run by volunteers who are experiencing the same costs as the people they'll be welcoming.
I just got a letter this week from the electricity company saying my contract has ended, and it is approximately 75% dearer units and standing charge from November. Yes, it's going to affect everybody. People have become trapped in their houses, so this will be a way for them to come and join with the community out in the local community hall.
Is it fair to say that there's maybe been a bit of a stigma attached with the idea, and how important is it that that stigma is broken down and taken away?
I mean, I'm going to be using these spaces. I'm going to be coming in with my laptop, doing some work from these spaces, doing my admin, because I'm worried about my bills as well. This is only going to happen if local people volunteer to help it run. So as long as there's a feed of people like that, then it could go on forever.
In a letter to the UK Chancellor, Shetland warned that 96% of households living here would be in fuel poverty, meaning they were spending more than 10% of their annual income heating or lighting their homes. But the fear is the real figure could be more like 60% for some households.
There's been a large number of our households in Shetland who've experienced fuel poverty for many winters, so this isn't something new, it's just something that is now going to impact more and more people. So we are really worried about what that looks like, and unfortunately we don't have the levers to fix it. That sits with government, so we need to put pressure on them to come and do something.
There's obviously so much natural resource around Shetland. It's a hub for natural resource, and yet you're telling me about fuel poverty. That balance doesn't seem right.
We're surrounded by all these resources, going to be providing lots of energy, and what we need that to do is we need it to be fair for the people who are having those impacts on their communities. They need to see a benefit.
However, the bill for tackling one of the island's major problems, its poorly designed housing, would be astronomical.
Each individual house, to be able to make them energy efficient, I would suggest we're talking about having to spend the value of the house again in trying to achieve that. The older housing stock that we have are simply not energy efficient.
You have to think about it like a submarine when you're building it, because everything has to be airtight.
Alan Duncan is building Shetland's first zero energy house. It uses solar panels, thicker insulation and quintuple glazing to meet its energy needs. meaning the owner doesn't pay any bills.
The house has photovoltaic cells and solar thermal panels that will make hot water and make electricity. So in theory, over the course of a year, the house will produce more energy than it consumes.
And designing energy efficient housing is an issue close to home for Alan.
My mother lives in one of the 6 original council houses that was built in Lerwick in around 1920. My mother's bill earlier this year was £353 a month. A couple of months ago she had a letter saying she wasn't paying enough and had run into some arrears. Her new bill at the moment is £764 a month. I mean, what does my mother do? She's living very, very modestly. She must be at home. She's not well. She's got Parkinson's. So it's important that the house is kept warm.
Stories like this are echoed across the island. Long-term solutions are being discussed, but right now, people in these communities are looking to each other to get through this winter.